So we got Tim Walz as the vice president candidate from the Democrats, and I thought let's go through the map again, like we did a few days ago with Josh Shapiro, and compare to Shapiro maybe in some respects, and also look at how this will affect the map now it's confirmed. So we'll start in Oregon. We'll go straight in Oregon and turn this deep blue. Is this any fault of Waltz or Walls, however you are inclined to pronounce it? No, I think this is just maybe I put a little bit too much stock in the Oregon poll that we saw a few days ago, and maybe it's really not that far, not that close in that race. So we'll move on to Minnesota, which is another one. You can make it deep blue if you want. Now I'm still gonna go. It's probably gonna be within 6 to 8% right now. So you can put that in the likely column now. And then we head over to New Hampshire, which I think is going to go deep blue because you get sort of slightly further left voters in that part of the country. That's what Tim Walz is. Um, then we have let's go to the Rust Belt states. So comparing to Shapiro, Shapiro made the campaign feel official. He was a very diplomatic guy. He seemed very switched on, very modern in his thinking. The problem is, so you go with this, you've now got two people in your campaign who are 60 years old, or going to be 60 at the time of the election. So you're old. You have old people in your campaign. Trump's obviously, what, 78 years old, but you got JD Vance, who's 40. So you kind of, it's not so direct as having, well, you got a young person, so you're going to get young voters. It's not that direct, but it does help. But with this, you have no diversity in your campaign. It's essentially copy paste the same person, just this guy's white, Harris is not white. So really, you're not adding anything dynamic to the campaign. If anything, you're taking away because you do worry about Walz's policies in Minnesota and how they tended to start moving a little bit further to the left than you'd want. So really, really, he could be the final nail in the coffin for this campaign. I got one or two comments on the last video saying that I was being harsh on Harris. I if you don't like that video, you're not gonna like this one because I certainly don't think Walls is going to improve this campaign. Uh, so looking at the Rust Belt, Michigan. Well, you've locked down your Muslim voters, so that's 1% of Michigan. Well done. And that's if they all vote. So really, and is Michigan going to come down to 1%? It might do, but it probably won't. So you got Michigan. Fine. You've lost Michigan, or you might win Michigan. Maybe you could take this down to a tilt. Maybe. You've taken it from maybe 3% to 2. You know, sure. Walls is from the Rust Belt. If you want to put stock in that, then go ahead, but I'm not so sure. Wisconsin, they're holding a rally there right now. It's so painful to watch. Harris is just up there, and I get this impression every time I watch her. She's just killing time. She's just standing up there. She says, "What a great time this is," and then everyone starts clapping. Then she starts clapping to try and prolong the clapping. Then they start chanting. She encourages the chant for an awkwardly long time, and it's just awful. Um, so she's really quite struggling there at the moment. So really, I don't think Walls makes a whole lot of difference to this map. I think New York Trump seems very confident in New York now. He's whether that's it could just be putting it on, but he seems very confident there. New Jersey maybe not so much. Maybe that could be I'm on the Republican. That could be more deep blue, and then you look at Wisconsin, neighboring state. Maybe that could shift. Possibly, maybe actually. I don't know. I was hesitant to put stock in Shapiro, and I'm even more so with Walls. I think he just makes even less of an impact. So really, does he get people voting in Georgia? I don't think so. Not like I think Shapiro would. He doesn't get people voting in in Pennsylvania as much as Shapiro would, that's for sure. I don't think that shifts at all. Maybe Maine, maybe this locks down Maine, if that's really a priority of yours. This is really just a floor consolidation sort of thing because you're not going to lose Minnesota now, which was probably the only deep blue state that you thought, okay, maybe this could be in play. You can see at the bottom of the screen, there's none in the lean column for the Democrats because this has just secured any states that were in any sort of question. So really, it's just a floor consolidator rather than a ceiling raiser in terms of electoral votes. I really actually don't think this changes any electoral votes because I think people have made their minds up on Harris. I don't think Walz really changes anything for her. He's just a similar person. So really, I maybe Virginia, if because she's still riding this blue wave at the moment. So maybe Virginia's one that just because it's been so sustained that it's lasted in this sort of honeymoon phase that maybe it's just permanent. But aside from that, I really don't see any others moving. North Carolina's locked, even though it's a lean. I think that's just the percentage point. It's not really an indication of, oh well, it's up for grabs. I don't think it is. You got Georgia, which maybe is more up for grabs than a couple of these other states, but again, you can get the black turnout there, but you're not going to get it like you did in 2020, and I just really think that's going to make a big difference. You got Pennsylvania, where you've lost the Shapiro support, uh, and you've turned your back on these Jewish voters. Maybe they don't make up such a big portion of the electorate, but you've really alienated them to some degree here. So if you want to give Virginia, I mean, go ahead. It makes no real difference. And I think this is a really bad move. Whether Shapiro said no or not, we don't know. But it looks like she made this decision all by herself, and it's really gonna backfire because this is not good. This pick, it just makes no sense to me. Uh, I'm sure people will be quick to tell me that no, actually, this is a really good idea. I have no stock in either. I really Democrat or Republican. I'm not inclined to agree with one side every single time on every single issue. Uh, but I really think this is quite awful. This decision, this pick, and I think it's just gonna, if anything, set you back. In places like Pennsylvania, which are the swing states that you're hoping to win this election. Maybe okay, let's say you win Wisconsin now, you win Michigan, sure, and you take Virginia, sure, and you take Georgia, sure. You still got to win Nevada, which is seemingly shifting right towards Trump. Arizona, which just looks like it's a little bit too far out of play already. And then you're left with Pennsylvania, which I think is now, you've hard capped yourself because you've really turned your back on the Jewish voters and they wanted Shapiro. So really now you're just left with an absolute nightmare. Um, and like I said, I think this is just you're just establishing a floor, and that's it. You're locking down Oregon, you're locking down Minnesota. Maybe you take Wisconsin, and that's it. Maybe you take Michigan, Virginia, and Georgia. You have a miracle, and you're still not there. You're still not at the place you need to be. Maybe if you, I mean, even New York, the Jewish voters there, they're now gonna be looking at, okay, well, I've voted Democrat my whole life, but they've turned their backs on me. I'm gonna be voting Republican, and this could even further put New York in jeopardy. I'm not saying it's gonna flip. I don't think it would flip, but now you're looking at within 10, within 9, within 8, maybe. So just an absolute mess, absolute nightmare. If she'd have picked Shapiro, I'd have really been like, okay, this is really quite good. We can sink our teeth into this and go, oh right, okay, Pennsylvania's suddenly in play, Michigan maybe is in play, Wisconsin's in play, Georgia's in play, and Virginia is. But now, really, I don't think any of them have been. the situation has improved over Shapiro, that's for sure. And even in general, maybe you could say Wisconsin's improved, and that's about it. That's all you're really looking at. We could get into this Nebraska district. Maybe it could now head Republican if you want to just change something on the map, then I guess. But still, I it tends to they tend to split the votes there anyway. So really, I think this is all you're looking at. You're really not going to see him make any sort of impact on this election. We'll see what he says. We'll see what he comes out with his policies and how far left her policies are. She's changing her mind every minute, and these rallies are not good for her. The debate will be absolutely brutal for her. We saw in the primaries 4 years ago how much she struggled. So really, this is just going to be it's going to be certainly interesting to see those debates that hopefully are coming at the end of August, because Trump said he wanted them before the early voting starts. So I don't know if she'll want that, um, because I think she'll be ripped apart on the debate stage. Maybe Walz can hold up better against JD Vance, but we'll have to see. I really think this is something. This is really a not good pick, a really not good pick, and I don't think this is going to give any benefit to the Harris campaign. And I think now it's a case of, okay, Shapiro saved himself. He could now run for Democrat nominee in 2028, and Walz has just gone onto this sinking ship, and he's just gonna crash with it. And someone had to take the position, and you're never going to win this election, I don't think. And well, I really think this is the nail in the coffin. But like I said, someone's got to go down with the ship, and he's the one that's had to go down with it. Has he got any prospect for 2028? Probably not. So maybe it is good for Shapiro and good for the Democrat Party all round. You got a stronger candidate for 2028, and you just forfeit this election and say, okay, we go again in 28, and when Trump's not there. And looking at the Republican candidates, you got DeSantis, who's not great, Haley, who's I really don't think is very good at all, and then what, Vivek Ramanswamy, who he I can't make my mind up on him. I'll make my mind up on him closer to the time. Maybe we could look at that. Maybe we could look at the candidates for 2028. But I think the main takeaway from this is Shapiro saved himself for 28, whether it's his decision or not. And this Democrat campaign is sinking, and other states like New York maybe could start to come into play.